As we get the military. Okay. Welcome to Beyond the Buzzer. I'm your host, Dave Thompson. We're live on I-95, Zingo TV, and Facebook Live. Like I said, we are for the next hour plus. Myself, and the main man to the right of me, the student of the game, Mr. Kyle Nash. We're going to talk all things sports. And yes, I understand. We normally come on Monday after the Super Bowl. All right, listen. We switched to one day a week. If you're not familiar, I don't know what to tell you. But for those who are brand new here, welcome. For those who are always returning, welcome back. Myself and Kyle from the 3-Point Conversion, two of the best writers you're going to find there. We're going to talk all things sports from a very humorous point of view. And if you're in the chat, go ahead. If you're on Facebook Live or anywhere else where you see a chat, go ahead and say hi.
Like you, Precious.
So my side, we can't forget the super producer in the back, up in New Jersey, Mr. Bobby Blackjack. That's also going to pop in from time to time.
Yeah.
I kind of figured at the beginning of the intro, and I thought this is the Bobby Blackjack show. I was like, what just happened here? Did we just really get Patrick Mahomes over here a second ago? Because let's start talking Super Bowl. All right, that's going to lead to the Super Bowl start. And we're going to recap the Super Bowl. I know it's been beaten to death, but guess what? You didn't hear our perspectives about it. So guess what? It doesn't matter until we talk about it. All right. I will be the first one to say this. I picked Kansas City with the Super Bowl. I'm the one on the panel that picked Patrick Mahomes. And guess what? I picked Travis Kelce to win the MVP. All right, 0 for 3 here. All right, good. You know what? Let's go for the trifecta and Grand Slam. I didn't think the Chiefs was going to score more than 6 points. I hadn't won. I hadn't scored 35 points, Kyle. Go ahead.
I can't buzz you for that. I wouldn't have predicted that either.
Yes, Ellsworth. Appreciate it, my man. Hornets fans to 88. You're like one of 9 of us. Okay, appreciate that. Appreciate the love. Hornets. I mean, I bleed teal and blue, but that's a different show for a different night.
I mean, in fairness, I'm not a Hornets fan, but I did appreciate a lot of Hornets lore. Like, listen, Alonzo Mourning was my dude. What can I say? Moving on.
I mean, listen, and Kyle's also. Yes.
What does that have to do with the Hornets?
He owns the Hornets.
That's right.
Goat owns the Hornets.
I was thinking 88 and Alonzo Mourning. That wasn't a thing yet.
Well, let me tell you what's not a thing is that we talk about the GOAT. All right. The Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady GOAT conversation, I guess, ended on Sunday. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers actually executed probably arguably the perfect game. It really wasn't Tom Brady that executed it. It was the coordinators, Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles, who executed probably the football version of the perfect game on Sunday. They went in and systematically create 2 different systems to take apart the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Kyle, we know the Chiefs defense wasn't exactly surgical proof, but what Todd Bowles and that defense did to the Chiefs offense was pure-fledged surgery.
Oh yeah.
Kyle, I'm gonna let you have the floor. You picked the Super Bowl winner between the two of us, and Bobby did as well too. What are your thoughts on the Super Bowl, Kyle?
I mean, well, listen, you were apologizing for giving us giving a Super Bowl recap a little late, but frankly, folks, if you wanted a recap, and just watch my preview. Okay, the only thing I didn't have for you at that point in time was the fact that Patrick LeVon Mahomes II would be leading an offense that only scored 9 points. But before the stupidity I can't handle here, even worse than people trying to talk about Tom Brady as the GOAT, that he isn't, okay? He's the most accomplished quarterback in a team sport. Good for him. He's not the GOAT. But the thing that I'm even getting more frustrated with than that at this point is people trying to act like Patrick LeVon Mahomes II had a bad game. That is not what happened here. When this guy is flying through the air and throwing passes like he's something out of the damn Matrix, where Keanu Reeves himself seeing some of these passes that he has as Buccaneers are breathing down his neck, and he's even inspired to say, whoa. And then the receiver drops them. But sure, that's Mahomes' fault. Listen, I have never seen a quarterback look this good in a losing effort since Tony Romo lost to Peyton Manning and the Broncos, and they blamed Tony Romo even though Manning and company with the Broncos had 50-something points. I forget what year that game was, but it's a thing that happened.
I'll say this. Never in the time of the Super Bowl, for those who have not heard this, that quarterback ran for 490 plus yards in trying to run for his life.
He nearly had $1 million for every yard he ran to escape, and as far as his contract's worth, Danny Thompson.
This was yes, exactly. 1 million
per
and
yard.
That guy who bet 3.4 million on Tampa made a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
Listen, Todd Bowles executed the perfect game plan. Kyle and I have talked about this, and one of the things Kyle had mentioned was the offensive line play. When you're missing your starting left tackle, you're missing your starting center from a team that needs it. It was Todd Bowles basically loading up the left side and blitzing. I was watching the game firsthand, and I knew something wasn't right when Todd Bowles in the first quarter called a double corner blitz. You knew at that moment something was not right with Kansas City.
And not just a double corner blitz, Danny Thompson. You don't ever do that to Patrick Mahomes II. You don't, unless.
I mean, yes, Pat Mahomes had the toe injury, and yes, he had to have surgery because it's considered plantar fasciitis. I get it. Okay, he wasn't running around like Patrick Mahomes normally did. It didn't matter if he had a good toe or a bad toe. They blitzed him the whole game. Missing 2 offensive linemen is tremendously a key problem. And Kyle, what did I say on Monday, on last week? If Tampa ran the ball on first down and made it 4, 5, 6 yards on first down, Brady was going to kill them in the short yardage situation. And what happened? Ronald Jones started the game, getting 5, 6, 7 yards of carry on those opening plays, which set up 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2s. And guess what? Brady was going right across the middle. They had weapons everywhere. He dusted Gronk off for the best game of the season, and he looked like the Gronk back in New England because what? He was catching short passes and getting wide open. Mike Evans going across the middle, Chris Godwin going over the middle. It was basically Brady picking them apart.
And actually, I'd be remiss to plug in here. You mean Leonard Fournette, sir? That was the guy who had the better.
I was talking first half.
Excuse me. Carry on.
Second half, your guy, Lenny Fournette, playoff Lenny, or himself now known as Lombardo Lenny, went in the second half and does Leonard Fournette things. He looked like the Jacksonville running back that was a 1,000-yard running back a couple seasons ago. It seemed like such a long time ago in Jacksonville's run to the Super Bowl. Well, failed run for the Super Bowl. He ran the ball behind the offensive line, and guess what? It was effective. The only thing, Kyle, I say that Byron Leftwich did wrong in 60 minutes of calling plays was not giving Fournette the ball on 4th and 1.
Correct. Very good call.
That was the only thing that Byron Leftwich informing Tom Brady what to call, because Brady picked apart the defense all day. He didn't have to win the game with his arm. The offensive line controlled Frank Clark and those guys and Chris Jones up front. We saw Sorensen making tackles all over the field, and Tom Brady got Tyrann Mathieu frustrated. So guess what? Plays happened. Now, Kyle, there's another conspiracy theory. Oh, the referees were in the favor of Tom Brady. They want Tom Brady to win. They want Tom Brady to win. The Colts are going to go bad calls here. Listen, I will be the first one who says Tom Brady is fixed on winning Super Bowls, because as a Falcons fan, if anybody can say it, this guy. The game wasn't fixed. Let's explain what really happened here. This is the reason why the Buccaneers won this game in the first half is not because of the penalties. It's because Andy Reid called a dumb timeouts before halftime. He wanted to put the ball back in the hands of Patrick Mahomes II to try to run a 2-minute offense at the end of the first half.
But hey, Danny, how is that dumb?
Well, because guess what happened? You play stupid games, you get dumb prizes. Andy Reid he overthought the situation. Okay, go into halftime. You got the ball starting the second half. All right. What they did was they stopped the clock, and guess what? Brady on third down, Kyle, what did he do? He threw it down the field. And anybody knows if there's any type of contact going down the field, as long as the ball is in the right area, guess what? It's pass interference. Mm-hmm. They drew a pass interference penalty. Hey, you might not like it, but receivers and corners run into each other, and the receiver actually has a decent chance of catching it, it's going to get called. Now, in the red zone, Tyrann Mathieu was called for a pass interference in the end zone. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, yes, the ball was uncatchable. I agree with you. But you cannot put your hands on the receiver 5 yards down the field, and actually it was 13 yards down the field. Matthew put his hands on at Kevin's the end zone. If it's not pass interference, it's defensive holding. Either way, a penalty flag is coming somewhere.
Right. The play happened so early in the pass, the official didn't really have the opportunity, I suppose, to evaluate whether the ball was catchable or not, right? And from that standpoint, maybe you could argue that the flag needs to be thrown a little later to evaluate that. Okay, if that's your gripe, fine, but don't try and say it wasn't pass interference. At the very least, it's defensive holding in the end zone, and you just gave Tom Brady and company a first down. Okay, he probably still scores on you with the way that the Bucs offense at that point was living rent-free in the Chiefs secondary.
Andy Reid outcoached himself on this one. You don't call a timeout. If Patrick Mahomes, if you watch the first half, Mahomes was running for his life. Do I really want to subject Pat Mahomes to any more punishment in the first half? Yes, the Chiefs have had the best 2-minute offense in the last 3 years in the NFL. I get it. Mahomes scores more touchdowns in the two-minute conversion, 2-minute situation than any quarterback in the NFL. I get it. But one thing that Tampa did different, this was Todd Bowles, on top of the blitzing, they changed the coverage packages. They played 2D safe. They played 2 deep safeties, and guess what? Told you Tyreek Hill wasn't going to beat you down the field. We know Sammy Watkins is limited, and my guy Hardiman, who I thought was going to have a huge game, did next to nothing. He did what he did.
Yeah, that defense is specifically designed to take a guy like him out of the game, intentional or not.
Well, guess what? And Kyle, Kansas City also shot themselves in the foot a couple of times. All right. Yes, the Tyreek Hill pass, that the ball hit him in the freaking face mask.
Right in the face.
In the face. Okay, that might have been a difficult one to catch. But the Travis Kelce one that he normally catches for a first down, he had 2 drops, but one was an inexcusable one. That would have led to a field goal before halftime. And the other part when I knew the game was over is when after that long and drawn out halftime performance by the weekend, which felt like it took the entire weekend to finish, by the way. This is why the weekend's missing letters in his name, because he paid for his name to be banished by this. Sorry, Mike Pat. I know you're on your AFC show tonight. You loved it. This was brutally bad. All right. What was even brutally worse was the fact of when the Chiefs got the ball in the second half, they needed a touchdown. They got 3 points. What happened was every time the Chiefs got down the field and you expected them to score, they didn't. Normally, in most cases, the Chiefs, when they got the ball in the red zone, even the interception at the end of the game, when Mahomes ran for his life and he couldn't find anybody in the end zone, the Chiefs normally put the ball in the end zone. The Chiefs couldn't run the football. They couldn't run behind. There's no Eric Fisher to run behind. There's no starting center to run behind. The running game is non-existent. Pat Mahomes ran for his life like it was Tecmo Bowl. And Tyreek Hill didn't make a catch to the second, third quarter. Anything worth significant? On top of that, Kyle, when's the last time you ever seen Patrick Mahomes start the game 2 for 10?
Yeah, no, that's a good stat by you too. I love how you're mentioning Kilgore and Fisher throughout your analysis as well, if I may.
Because here's the thing. With Kilgore and Fisher being out of the game, JPP, Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, Shaq Barrett, everybody was able to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes II. Okay. Mahomes hasn't seen pressure like this since the Big 12 until he stepped the Big 12 playing defense behind that Texas Tech offensive line. Mahomes doesn't get hit like this. He doesn't. He literally he saw what Carson Wentz was seeing all season. He saw what Russell Wilson was seeing all season. He saw footsteps in the backfield. There are times where he would get back, and before he got to that 5th step in the drop, there was somebody waiting for him.
So much for your Patrick LeVon Mahomes II is the MVP theory.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. I mean, any player in football needs an offensive line, okay?
Including Russell Wilson? Okay, yeah.
Listen, it is what it is. You need an offensive line regardless. It doesn't matter. Any quarterback needs an offensive line to survive, especially when a defense is dialed up to go after you. The Buccaneers defense were heat-seeking missiles going after Patrick LeVon Mahomes. You're going to beat us, but if you're going to beat us in the air, you're going to run for your life in the process. Run for your life, Charlie Brown. And that's what happened. Give big props to Leonard Fournette for showing up, making make a couple catches, but really running the ball effectively. Give credit to the Tampa offensive line. Brady didn't have much pressure the whole game. While Tom wasn't getting pressured, Mahomes had the record, Kyle, for most times running for his life in the Super Bowl. He ran for his life more than Cam Newton did in the Super Bowl, Kyle.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And that Cam Newton Super Bowl, he ran for his life. Okay. Mahomes did more running than Cam Newton in that game. That's really what happened. It was an executed, systematic destruction and a culmination of all three teams, the offense, the defense, and the special teams, were going out there, and Kyle, they kicked Kansas City in the teeth.
Constantly.
And I'll be honest with you now. I would say this. If Eric Fisher and Kilgore are playing in the game, Kyle, I take the Chiefs 99. I take 95 at 100 if they're back at full strength. Okay?
Fair.
But in this situation, it's one game. You're not betting on 99 out of 100. It's one game. Tampa did what they had to do, and Kyle, it came true. The bucket.
Did you just go little Giants on me saying it's just one time? Is that what you just did?
Listen, Tampa would. I don't want to hear about the home stadium issue. That has nothing to do with it.
None. Not in a COVID year. It certainly doesn't. No.
It was really 60 minutes of the Chiefs getting their face kicked in by the Buccaneers, and this was a completely different game than the game they had in Week 12.
Since we're wrapping that up, Danny, one thing I can't help but notice is a lot of people are making the joke about a controversial voting and you know how the Kansas City Chiefs found some emergency ballots and calls and actually won the Super Bowl and stuff, which was really entirely funny. Except there's one problem here, Danny Thompson. There is one vote that is drenched in controversy in my mind. Sure, I called it to happen that Thomas Edward Bieber Brady would get the MVP trophy just by default. But we all know for a fact that it was Devin White or Leonard Fournette that deserved it if you're going by the stats, right? Nothing is impressive about Tom Brady's stat line. And hell, he wasn't even the main force for the Bucs to win. Why does he have the MVP?
Because he threw three touchdowns with no interceptions.
And?
Listen, he threw 3 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. He had almost he had
200 yards.
Wasn't his quarterback rating almost perfect in the game? I mean, he played the perfect.
He did go 21. I think it was 21 for 29. So yeah, his completion percentage was pretty solid.
I mean,
but
here's the thing, Kyle.
That does not an MVP make.
Bobby,
let's not forget who picked Leonard Fournette as the MVP.
Almost nailed it. You listen. I said it when you said it at the time. I agree with you, but it won't happen because these ninnies that vote for it don't actually ever vote for the guy who deserved it. This even goes back to probably goes back further, but I mean, when I say that Dominic Rhodes and Jacoby Jones are both Super Bowl MVPs in my mind instead of Peyton Manning and Joe Flacco, no one's going to remember it. And this is just another example of that.
Listen, I think to me, the MVP of the game, if it wasn't Brady, was Rob Gronkowski. Gronk had the huge first half. Gronk. I mean, because we can't name coordinators MVPs of Super Bowls. You got to give it to somebody on the field.
Yeah, they don't execute; they just draw up the plan. And one thing you don't ever get a stat for, Danny Thompson, is your involvement in blocking in the run game.
I mean, you know what? I mean, like I said, you got to give the offensive line a lot of credit because they kept Brady upright. But like I said, Tom didn't make any mistakes. You win the MVP, Kyle. You throw 3 touchdowns. You have almost a 75-80% completion percentage. Like I say, there was no mistakes given in this game. Remember, if he doesn't have a mistake and he puts points to the board without giving away, he's going to end up in the MVP. That's how all quarterbacks are. I mean, if you play a flawless game like Brady did, no matter how the stat line looks, he's the guy because quarterbacks are the main object. Somebody would have had to have a huge game. If Gronk would have caught that 3rd touchdown, you could have said Gronk was the MVP of this game. But I'll say this. All 4 touchdowns came from players who were not on the Bucs roster at the beginning of the season. I'll say this. That pass he threw to Antonio Brown was, even though it was a quick pass, I mean, that was right on the money.
Oh, yeah, that was textbook. I'm not here to say that Brady had a bad game or that he wasn't any part of it. I'm not that guy. I don't have a problem with Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady fans that make me want to throw stuff.
Listen, Tom Brady fans are now Bucs fans, so that's what they'll celebrate. They're the Super Bowl champions. Tom Brady wants to play another season, so is Rob Gronkowski. Bruce Arians wants to come back and try to defend the championship. You know what? Let him do it.
I want to see it.
Listen, but you know what? No, I don't want to see, Kyle. Transition time. I don't want to see is crazy is things that make you go, Well, in the last 36 hours, last 2 days, we've had something that says, If you were to put on the 2021 board in the NFL Russell Wilson and trade, you probably would have won bingo here. All right. Russell Carrington Wilson has now been engulfed in trade rumors. It all started, Kyle, with him coming out on the Dan Patrick Show and just explaining a little bit of frustration about getting hit. Hey, on this show, Kyle Nash has been basically trying to block for Russell Wilson all the last 4 months. And Kyle's taking hit after hit after hit. So if anybody can talk about the getting hit, it's Mr. Nash. Russell Wilson's been sacked 397 times over the last 7 seasons.
Which is only 100 less in sacks than Mahomes ran in yards on the Super Bowl.
Russell Wilson's been getting his head kicked in for the last, 6 years. All right. Yeah. Russell Wilson's also 32 years old. Let's put this in perspective here. Russell Wilson's 32 years old. He's taken a lot of hits. All right. He's also owed $114 million as well. The Seahawks didn't even know about Russell Wilson's trade request, and Russell said, listen, he doesn't know if he's on the block. AKA, hey, listen, you might want to get me out of here. Kyle, as vice president of the Russell Wilson fan club, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, Rusty, I'm going to have to serve you cake because all that's left is cake because you're so late to the damn party. Everyone ate the chicken wings. No, I mean, I appreciate Rusty saying what he said. Do I think he's actually going to leave the franchise? No, I don't think that's going to happen. Not unless, I'll put it this way. His contract will expire before the Seahawks let him go because I don't see Rusty raising a bigger stink than this, frankly. And there were rumors dropped around in the past, talk about him wanting to possibly go to New York franchise and stuff and all this stuff. How seriously you want to take any of it is a whole other thing. I have no reason to believe at this time, though I reserve the right to change my opinion with further information, as any good analyst should. I have no reason to believe that the Seahawks are that stupid to part ways with Russell Carrington Wilson. I mean, say what you will, at some point, somebody's going to make a draft pick. Somebody is going to acquire something to put in front of him. I don't see it going any other way.
So my main man, Kurt Valenti, I'll check out the K&K show. His question is that an Eddie Royal jersey that Kyle's wearing? No, it's not. But let's see if you actually – and Kurt's a Broncos fan. All right, Kurt, since you are a resident Broncos fan, it is not Eddie Royal. I'm going to let you ponder on that one and let the ribs sit in the crock pot for a few minutes, and we'll come back to you. Let's see if you can guess it being the diehard Broncos fan. Well, Kyle, Russell Wilson, I don't know, being on the trade market here. One thing I read about I think it was CBS Sports, I think it's Jason LaFleur wrote it today, about 10 places gauging the 13 places about where Russell Wilson would go. And number one on the list was the Miami Dolphins.
That's intriguing.
Now, Kyle, they had mentioned in the past, Tua's our guy, Tua's this, Tua's that. Yeah. Armed with a boatload of draft picks because you basically own the Houston Texans' first and second round draft pick as well. Jeez. Kyle, if you are Brian Flores and you see Deshaun Watson, you see Russell Wilson. If Russell Wilson's not on the board, if you're Brian Flores, do you run upstairs and say, go get me Russell Wilson so I get you to the Super Bowl?
See, here's the problem. If I don't know that Rusty would be down with this deal. But if I'm Brian Flores, as the question is posed, yes, I go for Russell Carrington Wilson. What's wrong with you? Still love you, Rodney. Or still love you, Cortland. Don't worry. Like, at what point? No, of course you go for Russell Carrington Wilson. What's wrong with you people? Like what? No, of course you do. Like, listen, Tua can be your guy all day. Tua is still a project. That's the facts of the case. So do I give someone else a project for a chance to win now? And listen, Brian Flores is a 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds of Miami Dolphins success, to seek out new life and new opportunity for playoff participation, to boldly go where the Dolphins haven't been in half a century, or so I wrote for the Dolphins Wire some time ago. Here's the thing. That 5-year mission ends very soon, and he doesn't have time to screw around with some green thumb. He's got to get Russell Garrington Wilson or Deshaun Watson in play in his backfield. He also needs to improve his O-line, but that's okay. We talked about that. At least he's moving toward that.
Here's another question, Kyle. Okay, so let's take it to another angle. If you're Miami and you had a choice, do you trade for Deshaun Watson or do you trade for Russell Wilson?
Well, I mean, so the reason why that isn't as cut and dry is I want to see what the deals look like. I don't know which franchise I'm more likely to boat race in a trade. They're both pretty dumb at what they do. Not for nothing, but they've both been wasting the lives of quarterbacks for a number of years now with great talent. So really, when it comes down to it, it's just whoever I want to screw over more. And if I look at it that way, then I'm getting Deshaun Watson so I could screw someone in the AFC at least. Am I right?
All right. Kurt in the chat says that Eddie Rowe's number 19. And his next answer is it Marcus Nash out of Tennessee? Well, Kurt, if this is baseball, it's strike 2. And no, it's not. I'll give you a clue. It's not a custom jersey either.
That's a fair point. Not a custom
even though Kyle's
jersey.
last name is Nash, I'm pretty sure he would have got if it was a Nash, but no, it's not Marcus Nash. All right, Kurt, we're gonna put you back in the batter spots and see if we get strike 3. All right. Other places written by CBS about where Russell Wilson can go. Number 2 on the list is the Dallas Cowboys. Number 3, the Indianapolis Colts. 4 Carolina Kittens and 5 New York Jets.
So the correct answer is the Indianapolis Colts. We all know that, right? If Rusty has any say into the situation, think about this. Russell Wilson is smart enough to do this. If you could go to a place where you are virtually guaranteed to be protected behind an offensive line, what other guards does judo, for Christ's sake? Hello? And a defense that can be just as potent, if not more so, than Seattle's current defense. I don't see how he says no to this. But Kyle, they don't have very many weapons. They ain't got many weapons in Seattle either, I hate to tell you. Sorry, Tyler Lockett. I just don't think you're good enough to be considered an elite receiver in the NFL. You good, you just ain't that good.
I don't know. That boy good. That boy good.
That boy good.
Well,
I don't mean that he's good and terrible. I just had to quote the line. You set me up, and damn it, that's a trap, Danny Thompson.
I mean, listen. It is.
I want props for getting the line right, damn it.
All right, listen. You got it. I mean, listen.
Yeah, it was a trap, Bobby. You tell that man. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Listen to this. So here's what I was looking at. Like I said, the Dallas Cowboys. So let me explain the teams that in the orders. If the Cowboys were to pull out the Russell Wilson trade, it would have to be a signing trade for Dak Prescott.
Sure.
Because I don't think that the Seahawks would take back Andy Dalton. And the 10th overall pick is not going to get you a quarterback. Not one of a high caliber at 10.
Not this year, yeah.
All right, number 3 is the Colts, and Kyle pretty much gave the reason why the Colts is the answer. All right, the Carolina Panthers are at 4. Listen, they offered their first-round pick, which was 8. They offered a 5th, and they offered Teddy Bridgewater to go get Matthew Stafford. All right, that's not enough. But David Tepper wants to win a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson played at NC State. He's from the area. He knows it, and the offense does have weapons. I mean, if Carolina was willing to give 3 first-rounders and Teddy Bridgewater, what else? If I'm Matt Rule, I call David Tepper and say, go make it done. I'm just saying. Russell Wilson can change Carolina if that's the case. The New York Jets, 2 words, Brett Favre. Kyle,
Rusty has never thrown that many interceptions. Damn.
No, but what I'm telling you is it's like they're bringing in Brett Favre. Like, I don't know if that's going to work with that team. Their team is not ready to win right now.
I mean, he would be shoehorned. You're right. And what would probably happen is that they would make the playoffs with, much like Brett Favre, they would make the playoffs with him and be useless.
I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs with that team because, man, I know Sierra would love to live in the big city of New York. Cortland, Carolina, listen, a defense. Now, is that with Russell Wilson or without Russell Wilson? Hold, Kyle. If he's mentioning with Russell Wilson, then I can understand his question. But if you're talking about if Teddy Bridgewater is the quarterback, he must have did it on Madden. All right.
Did it on Madden.
All right. Well,
Hey, at
Kurt's
least he
giving
didn't
up.
say Tennessee. Am I right?
Yeah, Kurt's giving up. He says he don't know who it is. Kyle, who is number 19 on the Broncos that you're wearing tonight?
Well, this is the man that actually originated the term GOAT, he was the greatest player of all time in his receiver during his time there. Ventured with 4 different NFL franchises. What's tricky here, Kurt, is that he didn't actually play on the active roster. This jersey was printed for training camp, at which time this player in question retired before he actually got to the end of the camp. He announced that the GOAT was available, and the Broncos took him up at the offer until he retired during training camp. But that would be one Jerry Rice. He got it.
And Kurt, because the question about Drew Lock, can you see Watson or Wilson in Denver? I can see it.
Oh, yeah.
I can see it. The question is the draft picks good enough for Denver for the next 2 years? Or is John Elway willing to give up 3 first-rounders for Deshaun Watson on top of the pick this year? I mean, you put Deshaun Watson with those young core receivers, and the defense is already ready-made. They got a good defense over there.
Can you imagine, like, Rusty or Deshaun with Jerry Judy? Woo!
KJ Hamler, they've got horses over there. Literally.
I see what you did there, Danny Thompson. Well played.
But the thing is, I don't know if they're ready to give up all that potential young talent. That's the one thing is different than the NFL and the NBA. You can do pick swaps. You can trade first-round picks because one guy can change everything. A quarterback can change everything, but the quarterback still has to have moving parts to be effective. All right?
Like Rusty.
It doesn't really look at Deshaun Watson. Watson would have been the MVP of the NFL this year with the numbers he had if his record was 12-4 instead of 4-12.
Hell, you know what? I don't even think he needs to have double-digit wins. If he's 9-7 and they make the playoffs, he gets it.
He's in that conversation. I mean, 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, almost 5,000 yards of passing. His team was 4-12. It's a cumulative effort. It's unlike the NBA, where you can trade for a James Harden and change your entire fortunes of a franchise because one player can make a change because it's a 12-man roster. You know, it's a little different. If you get, we appreciate it, Kurt. Of course, check out the K&K Sports Show multiple days a week here on the I-95 Network. And Kurt's show is it's old school sports talk radio, just done with people on the camera. That's the difference. Pretty simple. All right. But to my point, what I was saying was when you look at trading for Russell Wilson, I don't know if you trade the form for him. It has to be a situation where it's win now. To me, even though CBS Kyle had my team that I would go with the Washington football team at number 8. If I'm the Washington freaking football team, yes, the F is for freaking at this point. If I'm the Washington football team, I will trade the future for Russell Wilson. I would trade the future for Deshaun Watson because here's what happens. You get either one of those two quarterbacks, you're running the NFC East for the next 4 to 5 years. Until their contract runs out, you are running the NFC East. Bobby,
just as good a reason for the Cowboys to do it, not for nothing.
No, because the Cowboys. I don't want to take any job that Dak Prescott was done dirty his way out the door.
Oh, no.
Because Karma's a fool.
I won't. You're going to say that Russell Wilson bears bad karma? Please.
No. I'm not saying he has bad karma. It's the fact of how the Dallas Cowboys did Dak Prescott is called bad karma.
All right. Well, and I hear all that. I'm not saying I would like for that to happen.
Bad juju. Not Smith-Schuster, bad juju in general.
Listen, Dakota Prescott's good. I think he should retain that job, but man.
Yeah, but the thing is, if they would have did Prescott under different circumstances, the man was trying to get paid. He basically bettered himself. He got hurt and probably lost a whole lot of money. Dallas needs to pay him and call it a day. I digress. What I'm saying is Russell Wilson can change franchises and fortunes of situations here, but it has to be the right situation. The same way Deshaun Watson. If you're trying to win now, and those two, either one of those two go to Washington, for example, they run the division. Okay, Philadelphia's in transit. Listen.
Yes, even after re-upping Heineke.
Yes, you can Heineken, Pat Hinkie. It doesn't really matter.
How much beer have you had to where you picked that over Russell Wilson? I'm just saying.
Don't. I mean, that's the point. I mean, I think even Indianapolis is. Oh, it's funny because that franchise that Rodney speaks of that has Hall of Famers. His franchise has post-make Hall of Famers.
Listen. Steve Smith's gonna get there. Okay.
Let's talk, Kyle. We're gonna take a little transition part because we did have the Hall of Fame announcement this week. Do you think Steve Smith gets in the Hall of Fame this year?
This year, no.
Let's look at. I'm pulling up the list now because this is something we didn't talk about. But you know what?
Actually, while you're doing that, I'm gonna say it. John Lynch, about damn time. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle, how did you feel about Calvin Johnson getting in year one?
I get it, but with the other receivers that were forced to wait, with other players that are still out there, Darren Woodson, for example, no, he should not have gotten in this year. And I think, honestly, as much as you and I have diverse opinions on things Shannon Sharp says, he went on the air and defended his boy Sterling Sharp. And I frankly think he's got a point. If Calvin Johnson went in, where's Sterling Sharp? You know.
Luke Kuechly would not get in the Hall of Fame. He didn't play long enough. He didn't play long enough.
I'd have to look that over before I say yay or nay to that. Peppers, he's right.
I mean, Peppers is eventual. I mean, I think that's going to be the first Carolina Kitten Hall of Famer.
Yeah, that'd be a worthy choice. If that'd be a toss-up if it's him or Steve Smith.
Here's the thing I have with Steve Smith. Kyle, did he do enough in his career to be considered a Hall of Famer?
Absolutely.
Here's my question.
Absolutely.
Is he, because Kyle, here's the thing. We have 3 first-time wide receivers coming in 2021. Mm-hmm. All right, Kyle, at the eligibility. And 3 of them, because so basically some of the first-time eligible guys, DeMarcus Ware.
Not yet.
Well, Kyle, 9-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, and All-Decade.
That's great on a piece of paper. My opinion is not yet. You're getting me from the hip. I may need more time to evaluate. Okay. But
what I'm saying is 12 years and 139 sacks in his career in 12 years.
I'm not saying the dude isn't effing amazing.
All right, but Kyle, here's some other guys that I consider first ballot, with a chance first ballot. 3 of them are wide receivers: Andre Johnson, Steve Smith, and Quan Bolden.
Ooh, now see, Quan makes it tough. I'm going to get one. Andre Johnson, the answer with him is not yet. He's really good. If there's not a Texan to make it yet, he'll probably be the first one. He was just as good as Rice. Well, he did have more catches than Rice. That's true. And I think he had more yards. Did not have as many touchdowns.
So Andre Johnson's 11th all time in catches and yards, all time. Bolden's 9th in the history of the NFL in catches, and Steve Smith is 8th in yards in history.
See, that's the problem with being a stat writer like you are, Chief. Part of the reason
I'm just saying in general.
But hear me out. What has to be considered here is Steve Smith would have had 1,000 yards every year he was in Carolina if it wasn't for Jimmy Clausen. Okay, that was some horrible quarterback play. And as it stood, Steve Smith, I think he got 800 or 900. I forget the number precisely. And I believe he was injured as well that year. Mm-hmm. I used to have that stat fresh. I wrote an article at one point at one of my former websites. I don't remember it as clearly as I do. But Bolden, second ballot. Get this. Cortland, you are on fail mode tonight, bro. Anquan Bolden, second ballot? What's wrong with you?
So you're saying he's first ballot?
I think so, yeah. But he won't get it because he's receiver. Let me be clear about that as well.
So, Colin,
I think Steve Smith deserves it more than Anquan Bolden does because of what he was to an entire franchise. Anquan Bolden was a big deal in more than one franchise. He's good enough to be a first ballot guy, both him and Anquan Bolden. To your point, they both can't get it. So, for me, Steve Smith's the first ballot. Now, Cortland, if that's the reason you're saying that Bolden is second ballot is because he's competing with Steve Smith, then you're right. But as players, nah. Anyways.
So at one point, Kyle, you go back to the 2 years with Steve, because Steve had 1,000 yards in the majority of his career at Carolina, but the 2 seasons he missed back to back. In 2009, Steve Smith finished with 982 yards on 65 catches. Quarterbacks that year were Jake Delhomme and then Matt Moore.
I forgot about that year. Yeah.
2010 was Steve Smith's probably worst year of his career. And Kyle, he only missed 2 games due to injury. 46 catches, 554 yards. He did lead the Panthers in those categories. Quarterback play was Jimmy Clausen, Matt Moore, and Brian St. Pierre.
Bruh, dude deserves a pass on that year. I'm just saying.
All right. Now you look at Anquan Bolden. You already know Anquan Bolden for your days, even with San Francisco. Like you mentioned, Bolden was
well before that, yeah.
But Bolden was a part of 3. He was part of 3 different teams that he had super success with. You go back to his days at Arizona. You go back to the days of course, even the late years in Baltimore, he was effective.
He appeared in the Super Bowl first with the Ravens, didn't he? I don't think he was with the Cardinals. I don't remember now. Damn it.
I think he was in Super Bowl year with the Cardinals. Yeah, in 2008. They played 3 games. Okay. Yeah, so he's part of 2018. He is a receiver, Kyle. Look at this. Oh wow, he would have had 900 yards, Kyle, with 3 different franchises in a season. 900 yards with 3 different franchises. I'm saying in one season. He did. And it in Arizona.
By the way, you're splitting catches with Larry Fitzgerald, on some of that, and other places. I forget who his original quarterback was. I don't think did he start with Kurt Warner? Now I don't remember. I haven't looked it up, but
he was with Warner. He was with Warner, Arizona, along with and Carson Palmer.
I know about. Yeah, I remember Carson Palmer. I'm talking about before if he was there.
Yeah, because they got the Super Bowl
for the early McCown years. No, Palmer did not make the Super Bowl. He was there with Warner, but was Warner his first quarterback? I don't remember. I don't think so.
Yeah, because 2008. 2008 was, let's see.
You're right. That's late enough. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Anquan Bolden's had the numbers. Like I said, we talk about Steve Smith. And Kyle, other first ballot Hall of Fame candidates in their first year, Tony Romo, Chad Greenway, Mario Williams, Robert Mathis, and Vince Wilfork. So
Chad Greenway is in Hall of Fame discussion? That's interesting.
Listen, I'm going to say this. I think DeMarcus Ware gets in first ballot. I think he gets in easily.
He will. I think, and that's a shame because I think that's most to do with the fact he's a TV personality. The actual defensive player that should get in first is Vince Wilfork. Period. But people oppress fat people.
No, I think a lot of times guys do get. I mean, I'm not saying that Vince Wilfork was a monster. I mean, DeMarcus Ware is the biggest name on the ballot because, like I said, I think he's still in the top 7 to 10 all time in sacks. I think he is. I think the big guys don't get the love. I get it, but I think he's a Hall of Famer. Because even Cortland says Vince gets in. I don't know if it's year 1, but I think
why is he still talking about Steve Smith? We both said he was, or I said he was first ballot. Like,
no, I think this was Bobby's behind on the comments.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
All right. So Kyle, as we diverge into getting in deeper, because Rodney just mentioned Sam Mills should get in the Hall of Fame. Yes, he's in the Panthers Hall of Fame. I think that's good enough at this point.
Wow.
What? Was I wrong for saying that or something? I mean,
no. It's just there are times when I love it when the host out trolls the troll.
Guess what? That's 98% of the show. And Kyle,
no, Danny Thompson rubbing some funk on it.
Well, Kyle, you know what? Speaking of putting some funk on it, UCF made some changes. We can put some funk in the system.
Oh boy.
UCF went out and found their actual athletic director, Kyle. So for those who don't know the athletic director of UCF and the Knights down in Orlando, Kyle, explain the significance of this hire.
So when the man they call Timo, aka the new Howard, Terry, I'm still working on his last name. I'm still practicing it. Terry Mogeri, I think his name is. I'm probably butchering it, but him taking it over as the former Arkansas State AD, what's significant there is he was a standing member of the College Football Playoff Committee, which is interesting because whenever he's on the rare occasions he's been questioned about his feelings on the 2017 season, which frankly, if I'm a fan, I don't care about that. I'm just like, what are you going to do to help us now? A lot of UCF Knight fans have been perturbed by the fact that he won't answer that question straightforward, that he's some sort of stooge still somehow working for the CFP and at UC. I don't know it because fans. The thing that you got to appreciate about this hire is because the former man, Danny White, who now resides in Rocky Top at Tennessee there, he's somebody who embraces social media, has a lot of energy, and is somebody who's got that new wave, new age feel about him. And that's exactly what Danny White had. And frankly, I think it led to a lot of the success they had over White's tenure, dating back to when he first started late in 2015. The real question is going to be Danny Thompson, the coach they hire. Now, I've heard names ranging from Gene Chizik to Gus Malzahn to Levy. All the players, of course, are asking for Levy to step in as their new coach at UCF. For now, it's still a lot of speculation of what's going to happen. But where the biggest challenge is going to come for UCF's new AD is, can he make the tide raise all ships at UCF as Danny White did? Because all sports improved their records under Danny White's tenure. So it's going to be a tough place for Terry to step in and do.
Speaking of stepping into tough situations, let's transition to baseball. This week, Trevor Bauer ended his free agent journey with an actual video that he posted on YouTube describing about where he was going to sign his next contract. 3.5 minutes later, he said he was going back home to play in LA, play for the Dodgers. He spurned down an offer from the New York Mets, and it really came down to guaranteed money. Okay, so
as it often does, partner.
Well, baseball's a little different story, Kyle. We're talking different sports here tonight. It's a great show tonight. So Bobby and I, our group chat, had mentioned the fact that this Mets fans are crying. As part of the Mets fan base, I am the vice president of the Charlotte chapter of the Mets fan club. We are not upset that Trevor Bauer went to the Dodgerland. We're actually happy that we dodged this bullet here. Okay, why did I say we're glad we dodged?
I see what you did there.
The bullet. Trevor Bauer did win the Cy Young Award. I get it. Trevor Bauer wanted to sign 1-year contracts with opt-out clauses. Here's the reason why Bauer went to LA. It wasn't because of the money, because the money was almost similar between both teams. It's all about guaranteed money. All right? Guaranteed money was the thing with this deal. The Mets were guaranteeing 35, was it 30, 35, and 30 over the lifespan of the contract. The Dodgers guaranteed 35, 45, 20. Kyle, what does that mean? In a contract that is guaranteed and he can opt out to every year, he's making $35 million this year, $45 million next year, and then $20 million his final year. In all hopes that he's going to opt out at any point in time. Let's be clear here. He's making $35 million, and most starting pitchers in Major League Baseball only start 30 games a year. And people love being Clemson fans, so I'm not understanding what
people love quantity. Yeah, right. I mean,
people are Panther fans. People are Panther fans.
That's where I thought you were going to go. I have to be honest.
I mean, they're Panther fans. People like Clemson basketball. What more can I say? All right, Clemson basketball is poverty. Say it.
By the way, that could be comment of the year right there by Rodney.
People love poverty. Clemson basketball is poverty. Okay. The Carolina Panthers quarterbacking situation is poverty. All right. Leave the Mets out of this. But here's the thing. The Mets did get out of the bullet because here's the thing. The Dodgers are going to be paying Trevor Bauer as he's the highest paid player in baseball. Kyle, this year he's making $35 million a year. All right. And guess what? he's only going to start 30 games, and we don't know if we're getting 162 games of baseball. That's over $1 million to start, Kyle. This man is going out, and he's getting paid $1 million every 5 days. And he might not be the best starter in the rotation.
Okay. Because math, man. That's what I hear you breaking down for me.
I mean, Cortland, that could be the case. Yes, he can get hurt. And he can opt in because guess what? He's making $45 million in second year. The Dodgers, if you're a Dodgers fan, you really think this man is going to opt out of $45 million? He's making almost $10 million a year more than the highest paid player, which is Mike Trout, who plays every day.
That's what I've never understood. Oh, yeah, we're paying him an S ton of money. He'll totally opt out of that.
No. You know what? Rodney, we're not doing this tonight. Not on this show. I will do this on your show, but not mine. Okay, on this one, okay? We're not talking about 28-3 and Tom Brady made $28.3 million this year. We will not do this tonight. All right. Dodger fans better hope Goodwill. He better produce. Kyle, he was barely 500 this year. Yes, he had a low ERA. He was barely over 500 because the Reds were terrible. Now he has to go home and make a whole bunch of money. Guess what? More power to you. I don't mind spending the money. Our owner has more money than anybody else in baseball, Bobby. All right. Before you say about talking money, my owner has bigger pockets than your owner does. My owner can buy your owner out 5 times over. All right.
And it's baseball. There's no such thing as a salary cap. I mean, there is, but, luxury tax. Who cares?
And besides, the Yankees haven't won a World Series since they had a salary cap.
Oh, damn.
Exactly, Yoda. Thank you, Baby Yoda. That's all we needed. The Yankees haven't won a World Series since they've been a salary cap. That should tell you something. The Yankees are only win when they can buy all the players.
You had a point.
Speaking of points, the NBA's had a lot of points this week, going up and down the boards as we get close to the All-Star game. All right, the G League bubble started today, and guess what? Kevin Durant is also on quarantine. What else is new in the NBA? All right. all we learned the last couple. Get off the Yankees. Cortland, you live in Nashville. How the hell are you a Yankees fan?
I don't know. Worldwide, baby. Worldwide.
It's called Unlimited Checkbook.
Hey, okay? Listen. Yes, worldwide. Like the Bobby Blackjack show when it finally premieres. Anyways.
I didn't even go there with this. I didn't. That wasn't me. All I know is, oh, wow.
And I'm still faster than you. Boom.
I mean,
changing to me ain't gonna save you. I don't know what you're trying, Rodney.
Exactly. Listen, Cortland, it doesn't matter. You're from Tennessee. It does not matter. Okay, you live in Braves country. All right.
I mean, I can understand him not wanting to be a Braves fan, though. Like, I get that.
But that means, like I said, Yankees fans, Dodger fans, and Cowboys fans. I mean, Yankees fans, Cowboys fans, and Laker fans are all the same. That's what they are. But as I digress, let's talk NBA real quick. Kyle, if I would have told you the Utah Jazz were the best record in the NBA at the beginning of the season, you'd probably laugh at me, wouldn't you?
The only reason why I wouldn't is at this point, the Magic were 4-0 to start the season. Anything was possible. I
mean, Kyle, at this point, you're not wrong in this situation. But for those keeping track at home, the Utah Jazz have the best record in the NBA right now. I mean, they've been the best team in the West, and the Sixers are holding on to be the best team in the East right now. Kyle, if you look at the top 10 in standings, let's look at this. And the top 10 teams make the playoffs in the East and the West, Kyle. And if any of these names sound unfamiliar to you, by all means, or you expect them, please say yes. The Jazz are the top seed in the Western Conference, Kyle. Expected, not expected.
Oh, duh. No, of course that's not expected.
The Lakers.
Hunter did say they'd make the playoffs, but the best record, no.
Lakers number 2.
I mean, we would have thought they're 1, but yeah, that's cool.
Clippers are 3.
I would have said lower, but I'll say no.
Phoenix is 4.
Did not expect that.
Blazers are 5.
Ish.
Okay. The Spurs are 6.
Okay, I didn't expect that.
The Nuggets are 7.
Did not expect that. Expected them to be higher, right?
Yes. The Warriors are 8.
Did not expect that.
The Grizzlies are 9.
I mean, I wasn't as high on them as everybody else was, but there's still a lot of season left too. So,
And Kyle, the Sacramento Kings are 10th.
did not expect that, even for a minute.
So, Kyle, let's see who's outside the top 12. The Dallas Mavericks are at number 11, and the Houston Rockets are 13. Now,
we did expect that,
but Kyle, and the Pelicans are 12. Now, the Thunder and the Timberwolves, we kind of expected to both be trash. All right.
Especially with Karl Anthony Towns having COVID, right? Anyway.
I mean, he just returned last night, missed 13 games due to COVID. It's good to see him back.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'll be honest with you, Kyle. I didn't really think he was going to come back after having COVID, losing his mom and 6 other people to COVID this year. I thought he would take a mental break for the rest of the year.
I mean, at some point you go to work, so it is something else you can focus on. There's always that.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. If you go, Kyle's different from catching it and then going through it.
Sure,
losing people. Sure. You know, it's just a lot. I didn't expect him to be there. I'm glad to see him back though. I
didn't either. I'm just explaining on how the hell, on what the hell he might be thinking. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm just glad that he's back on the court and he's in a good space.
But hey, he's a guy I'd like to watch. I got to see him in person once. It was a great time.
Yeah, he's a really good guy around the league. So let's go to the East. Kyle, the Sixers have the top seed in the East.
Close, but I did not expect him to be the top. No.
The Bucks are at number 2.
Okay.
Nets are at 3.
Okay.
Here comes the Bobby moment. The Celtics are at 4.
Again, higher, but okay.
Now, Kyle, this is where it gets ugly. Those are the only 4 teams above 500 in the Eastern Conference.
Did not expect that.
The rest of the conference is under 500 right now.
I know the East is bad. I still didn't expect that.
3 weeks ago, the Raptors had the second worst record in the Eastern Conference, and now they're 5th place, Kyle.
Obviously did not expect that.
The Pacers are 6.
Sounds about right, actually.
The Charlotte Hornets are 7.
I 8 at best. Did not ever see them cracking 7, so I got to say no.
The Hawks are 8.
Makes sense.
The Knicks are 9.
What?
and tied for 10th place is the Bulls and the Heat.
Again, the Heat is the big shocker there, right? Like we thought they were going to be world beating, at least in playoff conversation, right?
So, Kyle, when I mentioned the New York Knicks being in the top 10, you literally almost fell out your chair.
Yeah.
So, teams not in the top 12, Kyle. The Orlando Magic, I think, is the only surprising team on this list. They started the year 4-0, and then Markelle Fultz got hurt. 4-1, Markelle Fultz gets hurt, and their season goes down the crapper.
I mean, yeah, once that injury happens, you know, them being where they are now is not a surprise anymore, right? Like,
and Kyle, literally 6 days ago, the Cleveland Cavaliers were right down. The Cavs were number 7 a week ago, and then they lost 5 straight games. The Cavs went Cavs.
I mean, yeah, listen, we knew that was going to happen too. It's just they decided to battle with it. You saw the karma comment. See, that's the comment of the year, and 2020 just started. Excellent trolling, Rodney. Well done.
I know. I brought you LaMelo, sir. I brought your city LaMelo, okay? My luck brought you LaMelo. Not the other way around. I hate you, by the way. All right.
The Tampa Raptors.
They are the Tampa Raptors. Kyle, and here's the other part. The Washington Wizards are 14, and they seem like they're throwing the white flag at this point.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know there was a lot of hopes for them, but I got to tell you, I didn't see it. I was not being fooled by it. Rodney, you're probably right. The Knicks may suck in a month, Rodney, but damn it, let's have this one moment in time.
Knicks fans, and the Knicks are making trades to make themselves better. They added Derrick Rose over the week, last week.
And Jimmy Dolan is allowing this?
Listen. I thought it was be full-fledged trade prices mode. Sell more, sell. I don't know, but
frozen concentrated OJ.
Listen, he's frozen. Tom Thibodeau is frozen concentrating, bringing back the Bulls together. Okay,
instead it's like Randolph.
Listen, they brought back Derrick Rose. All I'm saying is, if I see Luol Deng or Joakim Noah go anywhere near New York, I'm running. Marty joins. Big shout out to his podcast as well too. Listen? Well, Bradley Beal has no trade clause, so the Wiz can't just trade this man. This man has to actually want to go somewhere. And ironically, he wants to stay. For a shocking twist of fate here, a star player that's averaging 33 points a game on a team that's literally arguably the worst team in the NBA wants to stay. Bradley Beal's loyal to the city of DC. He wants to win a championship in DC. I get it. It won't happen, but I get it.
You need a lot more magic than you could get from a wizard.
Listen, if I'm Bradley Beal, I'm getting out of DC. I'm calling the first thing. I'm seeing if Pat Riley can come save me. A combination of Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo.
Ooh.
Yes, I don't mean owl. Yes. Cortland, you just the Knicks, it wasn't going to last. Tom Thibodeau's need will run their knees out completely. We all know this. All right. But no, at this point in the year, I think if Bradley Beal were to ask for a trade, I wouldn't be upset. All right. The experiment for Russell Westbrook has gone down the toilet because the Wizards have a winning record without him. With him being in the lineup. Well, Kyle, something we haven't done in a while, Kyle. It's time for Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
I know. We haven't done it in a while, but guess what? It's time for Mount Rushmore. It's our favorite time of the show where Kyle and I go over a topic, give our favorite 4 things about it, and then guess what? We want you guys in the chat as well, too, to name the 4. There's no correct answer unless it's mine. And the best part about it is Kyle and or Bobby have no idea what the topic is until I come up with it.
None at all.
So, Kyle, we just finished the Super Bowl, Kyle.
We did.
NFL season's over.
Yeah, rub it in a little bit more, why don't you?
All right, Kyle. Since the football season's over, and it looks as though whoever decided they were going to play spring football is not playing spring football, as the MEAC opted out today, which kind of makes sense because playing spring football just doesn't work, and you have the NFL draft coming up, Kyle. All right. So, Kyle, if you were starting a professional league, because we've seen plenty of professional leagues, Kyle, that started and failed in the springtime, what is the Mount Rushmore of things to actually make spring football work?
Wow, that
I'm going in your wheelhouse here because we watched the AAF seek and fail. We've watched the World League of American Football fail. We've watched the USFL fail. We've watched the Arena Football League fail. Okay, how much as I love the Arena Football League.
Arena Ball was so great.
I mean, we now have fan control football starting this week, which is a league that's designed by fans where fans can choose plays.
Yeah, that'll work. And don't forget the XFL, Chief.
I was waiting to say, we have the XFL, Kyle. We've had a lot of FLs. So, Kyle, you have a blank checkbook, but you only can do 4 things? You only can pick 4. What is your Mount Rushmore of how to make a spring football league work?
Well, for one, don't do anything stupid and compete with the NFL in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I haven't spent a single solitary cent, and I'm already doing the best thing I could possibly do for myself. Accept the fact that you're going to come in with a product less revered than the NFL. Next, something that the AAF did and could have arguably been linked to its demise as they got shafted by that Carolina hockey owner that came in and said he was going to inject all this money and then took the rights to this and ran, allegedly. And that would be embrace the gambling side. Something that the NFL still hasn't done. Oh, sure, I get it. They have a team in Vegas, but it's not really woven into the cloth of the game in and of itself. Whereas with the AAF, they had an app where you can bet on something basically immediately to keep up with the game. I didn't really follow it very closely. I just know that they were heavily leaning into having this app and a gambling base. While it froze up during the first week of play, throughout the season, it got better, which might have been why the owner in question stole it. Next, something else that I think is incredibly important is to continue with any sort of technology upgrades. I don't know what the next big thing would be, but you have to admit there's a lot of stuff that the XFL or even the AAF started with that the NFL even at some point got to embrace because it was a better thing, right? You guys see this iCam or the SkyCam or any of that stuff. Those are XFL inventions. That the gambling app I mentioned, something that came with the AAF, the calling of the officiating review in a different city remotely to make a decision, AAF based, folks. So the punchline is, Come up with something technology-wise that gets the fans into the game a little bit better. And lastly, this doesn't cost any cash, but listen to the fans when they complain or ask for something. Listen, getting a bunch of dudes to dance in front of a camera for, team selfies and stuff is one thing. It's adorable. But listen, if fans want the opportunity to see some sort of a gimmick that they enjoy, like the AAF was talking for a bit for fourth and 25 from the 40 instead of an onside kick, give it a shot. What do you have to lose? Now, granted, I didn't necessarily throw in things that had money, but these are concepts where the fans get more involved. And if you don't have that corporate sponsorship, you have to get the fans invested.
Bobby, what you got, my friend?
It's a tough one, actually. If you think, I need more time to let it marinate a little bit in my brain. But I would say, get rid of all the ticky-tacky penalties. You want to hold on a kickoff? Hold on a kickoff.
Okay.
I think, not blatantly, but, there's a little grab here and there. Even those damn pass interference calls are a little crazy. I would have put stuffed suits in the broadcast booth. Put some passionate fans there. How about some people who are like you and I or Kyle, who are just huge fans? We would make the broadcast more entertaining than 95% of the people that are in the NFL right now.
Okay, that's two.
I would. Let's see. I have a little unfair advantage. I can see what the other guys are writing, but I'm trying not to look at them because I don't want to steal their thunder either. But hey, you know what? In all honesty, the XFL was almost working until COVID hit.
Okay.
For the most part. So I wouldn't change too much from what they did, and some more crazy technology, and maybe take the Nickelodeon idea a step further to get the kids involved.
Okay. So here are my four. I think number one, you have to get into the realm of staying away from broadcast television. Because here's the thing we have now. Yes, it costs a lot of money to jump your shows on ESPN and getting it on this network and that network. I get it. Like, the XFL spent a lot of money, and it's something that needed to be done. What I would do is I would partner with like a place like Peacock, for example, a place that has multiple streams, and think about multiple things that people watch. One of the things Peacock did correctly was they're getting everything from NBC Sports Network. On top of having all the shows they've had before, The Office, all their dramas, movies, they also added the NBC Sports Network family, which includes the NHL, and then they acquired the WWE Network. So now you have all these people that from different genres, different places that are actually on Peacock, for example. Your casual wrestling fan is going to pick up and start watching Law and Order. That person that likes Law and Order might start watching Mike Florio in the morning.
God, I hope not.
I'm just giving an example. Those same people might watch English Premier League soccer, but also pick up and watch a movie at the same time. You want to jump on one of these apps that would be completely different than everything else. Number two, to make spring football work, put it in damn markets that there's not an NFL team in. That's simple. Go look at the XFL. Go look at the AAF, where attendance was great in non-NFL markets. Big enough markets that were not NFL markets.
I'm going to say what you say is my version of that is an honorable mention. Put a team in Orlando. It's worked every time.
You stay away from NFL markets. Yes, they have the big television markets. Stay away from them. You mentioned Orlando as one. Since I live in the Carolinas, I put one in Raleigh. You put one in San Antonio. Look what the San Antonio football team did. Look what St. Louis did in the XFL. Mm-hmm. The only NFL city that works for anything is Seattle, because they just cheer for every damn thing. Okay? I stay away from Los Angeles. I stay away from New York. Stay away from them. Okay? You pick top 50 markets that don't have professional sports and go from there. That's number two. Number three, listen, you have your season begin and end where players can actually make and have enough time to go make NFL rosters for training camp. You end the season, Kyle, in June. You start the season right around March and you end in June, maybe the middle of June. These guys have enough time to go make an NFL roster because the rosters are expanding. With COVID, you got 75, 80 players in the roster. And the last thing is, I'm going after players that aren't. I'm going after the college players, Kyle, the Division II, Division III players that are hungry as well too, because not everybody gets NFL jobs. Listen, I'm basically going to offer more. I'll be able to have the money to be able to offer just as much money as a 6th or 7th round pick player gets in the NFL. The only difference is that, Kyle, guess what? I would have guys come in that those practice squads they sign 2 days after the draft. Come here, and you can get a job here. But here's the other part. I will allow NFL teams to be able to send players, your practice squad players, down here to get extra experience. I would try to if I could one-to-one it, I would try to one-to-one it. It's going to take a big undertaking. The G League has done a great job with it. Kyle, there are 29 teams in the G League at 27 teams. They're about to be one-to-one between the NBA and the NFL, the NBA and the G League. The NFL I should somehow find a way not to compete with the NFL, to be a underleague for the NFL. No one's ever done it. Kyle, 75-man rosters, Kyle. How many guys and how many times in stories have you heard of a player, man, if we had 2 more roster spots, we would have signed him? You send some of those coaches that you're trying to develop, you send them down there, and you run those scout teams during the summer. You find hidden gems. Those guys get called up to the big squad. You start one-to-one. You might start with 8 teams and basically have 4 teams, send players and just do it that way until you can grow it out. And then within about 6 or 7 years, it's one-to-one. That's it. You get on Peacock, you get on one of those up-and-coming streaming channels. You call Hulu, you call somebody that's a streaming service. Forget the networks. It ain't going to work. No offense to ESPN, but you're paying for airtime.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of wrestling. AEW does the same thing. They at the beginning, they had to pay for time on TNT. And you had to basically prove your worth. Go to a network that wants programming that can do those things. Bobby, what we have over there in the chat? That's realistic.
All right, hold on. There's a bunch here.
Okay.
Let's go Rodney first.
Jesus in the morning. Fat man. Rodney, so you're trying to participate in this league is what you're trying to tell me.
Oh, no.
I mean, I'm down with you.
Here's Marty.
Well, good luck. I mean,
okay.
Tracker and ball for proper ball placement. Okay, so that's that technology piece I was talking about, right?
I like number 3.
They did that in the AAF. Yeah, that was cool.
I hate this one, by the way.
But he's not lying. I love Nickelodeon. That was a great. I'm just so disappointed they didn't do it in the Super Bowl.
I like this in a lot of sports, by the way. Relegation.
But the thing is, you have to have. But the NFL is not going to work though, because what happens if the Washington team gets relegated down and we're adding them with I don't know, Albuquerque? Can you, Bobby? Let's be real here. If the Giants got relegated, you lose your mind.
Well, then that's part of being a fan. See, that's the whole European aspect of it.
But you also got to be able to have another 32 cities with NFL-ready stadiums and NFL-ready talent. I'm sorry. The Birmingham B squad is not going to go up there and go play the Houston Texans effectively.
How'd you get that? Look at that.
Yeah, he's from Greenville, so I get it.
I think that was it. Yeah, Marty and Rodney had the most of them.
I think Courtney had one too.
Yeah, you're right.
And the NFL is not interested. You can't do that out the gate, though. That's a cute idea, but they have to like you said before, Danny Thompson. You gotta prove your worth to them first.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, NFL did with NFL Europe, but the thing was, they only had 6 teams. It was in Europe. No one cared about European football. Even the folks in Europe didn't care about football.
But the NFL has no fiscal interest in creating a minor league. They have college football, and it's free to them.
Well, no. Here's the thing. Like I said, it puts the value in it, Kyle. You're not putting the NFL dime in this. Remember, if it's my league, I got to come up with the profits.
You got to be credible first before that's a thing.
I mean, like I said, you can partner out from the beginning. I say you partner out within 2 years. If you can make it past the first 2 years, if you can make, yeah, exactly, Rodney. Spell check, sir, before you hit that button. Kyle, before we go, any shout outs, comments, headaches, and heartburns?
Listen, glad to be aboard, Danny Thompson. Doing good things, doing good things as we do. Even putting up with Rodney and his trolling. Thanks to everybody in the comments. Cortland, good to see you jumping in again, my friend. And can we please put Chad Wheeler in jail? Thanks.
Bobby, any shout outs before we go?
No, just working hard behind the scenes here. You know what's going on, so. Little sleep. It's snow outside. I don't want to leave the house. I'm good.
All right. Big shout outs to everybody who said the chat tonight. Cortland, Rodney, Marty for stopping through. My main man, Kurt, over at K&K Sports, and the lovely Precious for stopping by. Also, Ellsworth for also shopping through as well, too. Also, like I said, shouts to the I-95 Sports Network and their team, Blackjack Television. Like I said, like Bobby mentioned before, some things going on in the background. We'll talk about that on a future edition of the show. Kyle and I'll be back on Thursday, talking more about, I don't know, hopefully Carson Wentz gets traded by then, so we have something to freaking talk about.
In the NFL, at least.
No, not the rapper Snow. The stuff that falls on the ground is not poverty. The rapper Snow is poverty. Okay.
If Eric Snow is your only person that's helpful on your team, that's poverty. Just ask Allen Iverson. Whoa! Whoa!
Nice. Also, everybody out there, wear masks and stay safe as well, too. Yeah, Cortland, come on ahead, man. Listen, I already told you. Mi casa, su casa. Come on down, sir. Come on down, sir. We'll go get some barbecue. All right. Yeah, and Kyle barbecue anyway. This is what it is. But like I say, everybody stay safe out there. Keep the mask on your face. And also tomorrow night, I said, check out the Hornets post-game show on Haps. I'm not going to tell you the time because guess what? We don't know what time the Hornets game is going to end. Hornets play the Timberwolves tomorrow night. And if you want to see me gaff on a post-game in a presser today, go to the three-point conversion YouTube page because Coach James Borrego kind of gave it to me in the pregame in the shoot-around today. So if you want something to laugh at, go ahead and do so. For myself, the student of the game, Mr. Kyle Nash. Check us out, like I said, on multiple social media platforms and Bobby Black Check up in New Jersey. Love you guys. Talk to you guys later. Peace.